Okay, so answering the request to my good friend Diego over in Spade from Nightmare Miniatures. He requested a video of the Ork Army that I'm currently working on. I say currently working on as I've just finished my 1,000 points that I pledged to paint for the C0wabanga painting challenge. If you're not aware of that, it's a challenge that's on the C0wabanga Old School Mini, 28 Old School Minis blog. I'll have to add a link to the video description, so go down there and click on that to check out what's been happening with that, because there's about, usually about 20 entrants for each challenge. This is the second one that Dr. the Viking is running at the moment, and I wanted to be a participant this time, and I was sort of just scraped in at the last minute. And I had some really wonderful Rogue Trader orcs. That was part of a painting trade deal that I did with David Schooley over in the US. So thanks again, David, for the opportunity to get hold of these absolute beauties. And as you can see, mate, I've put them to good use. I've already painted quite a lot of them already, and it's been a real good pleasure. It's been a real pleasure to get into some 40k, because I haven't played or painted anything for 40k for many years. Yeah, so it's been a really good break. It's been nice to do the banners and that kind of thing. Even though I do that for fantasy, it's just a different kind of style and in many ways. And I've always been a massive fan of Kev Adams' work through the early Rogue Trader periods, and they sort of conveyed through to second edition, but then they started changing the style, and Kev left the company, and then the Perry twins took over the role of doing a lot of the orcs, which personally are not my cup of tea. So really this isn't really a second edition army in the true sense of the word, but if you look at things like the Space Wolf Codex, it contains a lot of the models of that era in the battle report. And I think these models are just the best models ever, and I think this is one of the best painted armies that the studio ever painted. You've got Mike McVeigh's wonderful Gazgul, Thraka and Mikari there. The banners are just incredible. You've got all the clans represented in this particular battle report. It's a 2,000 point army. It's massive. I don't think I'll ever, I don't know, probably will get something close to that, but I need to collect a lot more models in order to achieve representing something like this. The Battle Wagon is the most sought after model for any orc player. So who knows what Ork and Gork have in store for me. Maybe there's someone out there who has an affordable battle wagon at some point for me to pick up, because yeah, they're pretty much the essential item for playing orcs in 40k. I've got lots of vehicles, so that's good. I can supplement that. Getting the boys too. I need to collect a lot more of the boys in all the various different clans to represent them. I've got some drastic plastic orcs here. They were the first unit I painted for the challenge, and I got it in a sale through some, I think it's Nick in Australia, that had some sprues there, and he had some because I was after some arms and that kind of thing, and weapons and stuff. He said, oh yeah, I've got all these, and I think it was Nick, I'm not sure, but one of the guys from the Australian Old Hammer Trading Group. And I've got those, and they've been sitting there, and I thought, well, I don't have enough boys to represent the Bad Moon, so I thought I'll use those. And they're great little models, even after all those years since they were in production. They're still fantastic. Normally I sort of, don't do plastics at all, really. I'm pretty much an all-metal guy in terms of miniatures. I really love painting metal models, but as plastics, I think they serve the purpose wonderfully. We've got a couple of Weirdboys here. This one being probably one of my all-time favourite Weirdboy miniature designs from Kev, and the other one as well. I've got a couple of minders now. I don't have, this one isn't an actual minder model. The other one's a Mad Boy, of course, if you're familiar with that, the Mad Boy range, and that was actually designed by Bob Ollie, which are an awesome range of models. I currently have 5, and that's one of the 5, but I think they're just perfect for minders as well. Looks like he's kicking up the backside there and keeping the Weird Boy in check. Really nice models to paint. But of course, the highlight of the army are the Orks in Mega Armor. And their banners, their back banners. This caused quite a lot of comments and likes on my Instagram account, much to my surprise. I've been in contact with a couple of people there as well through that, that had sort of reached out and said, you know, really like what you've done here, you know, how did you do it, or that kind of thing. And so it's been really cool. There's been good interactions on Instagram, more than I had thought I would get in response to these. I mean, you know, if I'm going to be really critical, they're not perfect. Either are the painting of the miniatures, but they're really good. I did this in, like, you know, I did this army in about a month. It was about more than a month, I think, about a month and a half, because, well, it was less time that because I had a fantasy project I was doing in the meantime. So I did these. I pumped these out so quickly. I surprised myself, actually. So, you know, I mean, they're not perfect. I mean, my Warlord I really love. I mean, I really put a lot of attention and care into painting this guy because it's one of my all-time favourite models. But the Ork knobs are pretty straightforward and easy to paint. I mean, you really just got a face and you've got the armour that's all yellow and black. It's really, you know, not that difficult. It's just basically a process that you follow, and you know, I didn't put into any sort of additional care or attention into each model, but all the freehand that I did on the armour was probably the most time consuming, but the most fun to do. So that was really important to get all the markings on there, because that's really a trait that the Orks really love. They love to put all these glyphs and markings on their armour. Maybe it's like a personalization, or maybe they're sort of indications of trophies in battle, those kind of things. So those markings are really important. The banners I put a lot of love into, because the banners were just something that I don't normally spend an enormous amount of time on doing them myself. For fantasy, I tend to like print them out and paint them. These ones are not printed. These are actually my own designs. So, but you know, essentially they're just moons, moon faces. But the concept of these sort of close-up at different angles, different expressions, sort of just came to mind, and I thought I'd run with it, and it worked out really well. I was really quite surprised how effective they look. And they kind of remind me of like a John Blanche kind of design, maybe. Some are better than others. Some I really like. The this one particular one with the nose ring and all that I really like. I really like how that turned out. So yeah, banner art is really something that's interesting me a lot, because I really want to get it down and perfect it. It's different from miniature painting because, you know, essentially you're painting something two-dimensional rather than three-dimensional, and there's, you know, the more neat it is, the more clear and crisp it will look in the end. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to painting more banners for my Orks in future, and just making it the most colourful, you know, cross-section of colours from all the different clans as possible. I think this is probably the extent of my bad moons, though. I don't think there's going to be any more bad moons, unless I pick up some additional individual boys with the, you know, the iconic sort of moon-shaped caps and that kind of thing. They're really beautiful models. Even if I just grab like a 5 of those, or just one of each of the designs they had, I'll be really happy with that. Now I've got Diego's line of miniatures that were designed by Kev. This was a Kickstarter I backed about 2 years ago now, I think, and had the models here for quite a while, and I was promising Diego I was going to paint them, and finally they're painted. So they're available at his store now, so if you go to nightmareminiatures.com, I'll put a link in the description. You can find these available now. There's only one model that you won't be able to find, and that was a Kickstarter exclusive. That was this model here. That was the 11th model that you got as like a reward for being a backer. It's a really cool model. I really like them. They're all got their individual character. Again, I really enjoyed doing the freehand moon symbols and flames and all that kind of stuff on them. As you can see, there's two very lonely goth boys in the background. These two models are actually the first ones I painted for my Ork Army. It wasn't the bad moons, it was the goths. And I had really high hopes of doing a big goth kind of army, but it just didn't have the models to support it. And now I've got a few more, thanks to David. I've got some Scar Boys there, and I've got Gazgul and Mikari that I want to paint up for them. So I'll have a nice big decent unit, probably about 15, including maybe a couple of knobs, in a big unit of goth boys that'll be just charging across the battlefield at some point. The Pulsar rocket I'm not really happy with at all. It's not a very good paint job. It was quite rushed. I am going to go back and just sort of touch it up a little bit. There's some parts that are not actually finished painted, I realised later. And yeah, it's a bit shambolic at the moment, so I'm going to go back and fix it up. The Squig catapult I quite liked. I think it looks quite nice. The crew look nice. I've got a couple of squigs in there that I got from David as well. They're sort of like the ammunition. Little extras of detail that I put in there. So yeah, they look really cool. Unfortunately, I didn't get the ammo capsule. There's like a little capsule that comes with the catapult that I found out later looking at the catalogue. But that's okay. You know, it looks like it's sort of just fired the ammunition out of the catapult already. So, but overall, yeah, really happy that this is done. I'm going to play a game of 2nd edition with my mate Paul in Tokyo on the 3rd, and I hope to have some video of that, even if it's like kind of like post-turn sort of you know, commentary or something like that. If I can't film the entire thing, if we have Wi-Fi there at the store, I don't think he does, but if we do, then I'm going to try to stream it. That's usually the best way of doing it for me these days, and just capture some nice high def photos. Paul's got a really nicely painted C0wabanga battle army, and so I look forward to playing against that. It'd be our first game, I think, for the both of us since the 90s, so it'd be really awesome to see how these fight it out on the tabletop. I think he's bringing a vehicle, I'm not sure, but he's bringing a lot of guys. Like, I was really surprised how many of these troops he can bring in his warband. So they've got some really cheap kind of militia type units that they can bring. So he'll be outnumbering me because I've got all these mega armored knobs. They're like Terminators basically, effectively. So I hope they can sustain a lot of the firepower and, you know, dish out a lot of pain to the sisters. And I've got my poor, you know, the meat shields. These Gretchin will be kind of covering me as I advance across the tabletop. I don't have any vehicles. Like, I've got lots of vehicles to paint up. I just don't have them available now. So I might try to get one vehicle painted up for the next game we play, or a couple of vehicles painted up, because I want to try the vehicle rules as well. I've got a lot of Scorchers, which are really tempting to paint up first, actually, because that big heavy flamer and having 4 of those is going to be really quite nasty. So, but the next project I'm going to start after this is Space Wolves. I've just finished watching the Viking series, and I'm really inspired to paint some blue-grey Space Wolves now. So I'm just cleaning up my Terminators as featured on the cover, my Wolf Guard, and I'm going to add those to the C0wabanga challenge. I want to try to add those on there. I've got Ragnar Blackmane. I've already had him for ages, and he's been sort of semi-painted now for, I don't know, a long time. And it's just getting that done. The banners are going to be really hard for me to do, and they're going to take a lot of time. But yeah, if I can just paint him up and the Wolf Guard, I think that's almost like 1,000 points anyway, or whatever it might be, 800 points or whatever it might be. I have to work it out, but yeah, it'll be enough just to add to the rest of the challenge, because it's a 6-month thing, so I want to keep painting and doing some more stuff. But yeah, productivity wise, I've been very busy. I've got a lot of fantasy stuff done as well in the meantime, including this. I'll be back shortly to feature Jesse's Slaanesh Chaos Army, because that is now 2 miniatures away from being finished. That's been a really long year project that Jesse's really looking forward to getting back. Look forward to another video showcasing that army before I send it back. But I will be playing the Chaos Army in a 4,000 point battle on the 4th of May here in Japan with a couple of friends. So I look forward to playing that and giving it a big send-off before sending it back to Jesse. So guys, thanks for watching the video. Please leave your comments down below if you have anything to say about this video, about the army, about Space Wolves or anything like that. You'll love a 40k second edition. I'd love to hear about that. And I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.